And we're live.
What's up, everybody? It is 5 o'clock on Thursday. That means that we have our live stream, hangout, and news, and all that other stuff. So let's do this.
Awesome.
So I know that everybody's probably got a busy weekend this weekend and a lot of family around and stuff. So I just want to say thank you for taking a few minutes out and hanging out with us at DylanTalksTone. I'm going to give a quick plug for all of you that are here, that are new to the channel maybe, and those that are old, to hit the subscribe button and hit the share button and tell your friends about our channel. Here's why. We are less than 1,500 subscribers away from hitting 50,000. I cannot imagine how cool it would be to try to hit 50,000 subscribers by New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or whatever, by the end of the year. I just think it would be so cool. I can't even imagine it. It would be awesome. Speaking of 50,000 subscribers, let me show you something very cool. You probably already know about it. Leslie will throw my head in a box or just show the screen. It doesn't matter. But this is on DylanTalksTone.com. You get to this by hitting DylanContest.com. And the contest for the 50,000-ish subscriber giveaway guitar has started. There's 20 days left. It looks like there are 3,278 entries into it. And basically what you do is you go in here and you hit... you log in with Facebook or Twitter or email address or whatever, and then you can enter to win it if you live in the United States. The cool part is you can enter it multiple times. What I mean by that is not with different addresses and stuff, but every time you share it with somebody, you get more entries. So even if you already entered, you can go share it again and get more entries. Just FYI. So, that's pretty cool. This is a cool guitar, and I'm really, really excited about being able to give it away here in about 3 weeks. Not only that, if we scroll down, it says for international. Everybody's like, what about everybody that doesn't live in the United States? Well, here's the thing. I didn't want to forget about you because over 50% of our viewers actually don't live in the United States. So, bam! We're going to give you away some pickups. You can pick whatever you want. Don't pick them until you win. I've actually had people email me, say, in case I win, this is what I want. Don't do that because I won't find those emails again because they will be buried. So, just FYI. And for everybody else who has won some stuff over the last few weeks or month or so, I'm doing a big send-out day on Monday, I think Monday, to send a bunch of stuff out. So just FYI, if you're waiting on something, I know a few of you are, it's coming. So I have not forgotten about you. Okay, cool. So DylanContest.com, go to enter, win that stuff. Super, super fun. You might win a guitar, you might win some pickups. I don't know, pretty awesome. But you can't win both, but that's okay. So. Let's go ahead and do our questions that have come in from YouTube YouTube join members as well as Patreon members over the last week or so. And I'm going to go back to last week because you probably didn't know, but I was not feeling very well last week, and I actually skipped this part. So I'm sorry about that to those that have listened or watched wanting their questions answered last week. I completely missed it. So we are going to go ahead and go back to last week's questions, and we are going to discuss a couple of things that I think are very interesting. So, Zoltan from Patreon says, Hi Dylan, what strings would you put on an acoustic to sound good, but also be able to play bends without killing your fingers? Okay, because everybody knows probably from watching my videos that I play 13s on my acoustic. Because that's what it came with. And, okay, so the shorter the scale length, the flexier the strings are going to be. So if your acoustic guitar has a Gibson scale length, or 24 and 3/4, or maybe a 25-inch scale length, something like that, then you could get away with heavier strings and play with some bends and probably be okay. A 25.5-inch scale length, like a Breedlove or like my McPherson, the longer the scale length, the tighter the strings are going to feel. So if you don't feel like you can bend 13s, put 12s on it. I will tell you that every guitar is a little bit different in this way. I had a 25.5-inch scale on my Breedlove, and I put 12s on it once for like 15 minutes, and I hated it. It sounded so different. The weight change in strings on an acoustic is a huge deal. And so going from 13s to 12s, I could not stand it, and I literally went back to 13s almost immediately. I was like, no way. And I played 13s on that guitar the entire time. I've got a buddy of mine in New York, shout out to Steve Starlacci. He has a McPherson Sable, and he plays 12s on it. I play 13s on mine. This is an experiment that you'll have to do. This is why I always do this experiment, this whole string experiment. You might wonder why I test strings so much. It's because, especially on an acoustic guitar, they can make such a huge difference. And actually, on an electric guitar too, your interaction with the instrument is so individual. And so that's why I think when you get into you go to a Facebook group and everybody's like, get this string, it's the best new thing. It might not be for you. And it actually might not be for every one of your guitars. You might have a Gibson and a Fender, two different scale lengths. One has a tremolo, one doesn't. And you might be like, everybody wants to just say, well, I've always used X strings for the last 20 years and that's what I've used. But I think you might be shortchanging yourself if you don't do the experimentation to figure it out down to the guitar. Each guitar, not just I'm this guy, I play this brand, and I play this weight. Like, each guitar is different, so kind of figure that out for each guitar. Single coils and humbuckers, the pickups, and the interaction of the pickups with the string, like that's how it makes the sound. So, dive into that a little bit and nerd out about it a little bit. And I don't want to say it's cheap because, some of these new strings can push $20 for a set. But over a few months, experiment a little bit and see what you can come up with there. Zoltan also asks, here's another electric problem. This is over on Patreon. I'm converting a Squier Strat to a Ritchie Blackmore specs with just 2 reverse wound, reverse polarity Seymour Duncan SSH4 pickups in the neck and the bridge, and a 3-way switch. Blackmore had a dummy coil in the middle for noise canceling. Can I just pull out the ceramic magnet from one of the Squier stock pickups and use it as my dummy coil, or would I need a coil that is wound to the same DC resistance as the SSH4 pickups? Technically, to get this 100% right, it's not about the DC resistance, it's about the wind count. So if you had, 8200 or 7800 winds on the neck pickup and the bridge pickup or something close, then the dummy coil would have to be exactly that to be perfectly hum canceling. That's the textbook answer. However, because your neck pickup and your bridge pickup aren't wound the same, and because hum canceling does work in a normal Strat with 3 pickups anyways, and they're not all wound the same, they're all a little bit different, up to a percentage, it will still work as a dummy coil. And that is an excellent idea. That would be a really fun experiment to do, to just take the magnets off. I think if it was me, I would actually replace the pick guard and take the pickup all the way out, away from the strings. Not because of magnetism or anything, but just because there will always be a tiny little bit of inductance in a coil, and it could still contribute to the sound, if that makes sense. Theoretically, I don't know in real life. I would have to play with that. But if it was me, just off the top of my head, I'd get a new pick guard with just the 2 pickups in it. But I would leave that, of course it's routed underneath there, and I would just stuff it underneath there, put the pick guard over the top of it, nobody would know it was there, and you would have a dummy coil for those notch positions. That's a really cool idea, actually. I really dig that concept. That's a really cool idea. And it's free if you've got some junk laying around in your drawer and you want to just, pull the stuff apart. And actually, cheap Squire pickups would be perfect for this, like you say, because you can remove the magnets. A normal, nice Stratocaster pickup or Telecaster pickup has magnetic pole pieces that you can't actually push out of there without damaging the coil. But with those super cheap pickups, you just pry the magnet off the bottom and it's not magnetic anymore. The thing is that those little steel poles probably will remain magnetic for a period of time. That's why I'm saying move them away from the strings. Put them underneath the pick guard. Super cool idea, man. Let's see. This week, we've got one that asks, hopefully you're feeling great today. I am, even though it is pouring rain, and we are going to have like 20-degree temperatures in Georgia. We had to pull in our water lines, so we're living in a motorhome. So I filled up the water tank, pulled in the water lines, because you can't have a hose laying on the ground when it's freezing outside. And of course, I'm doing all that in the pouring rain. So drinking coffee in the evening just because it's warm. And I put a little else something in there too to keep it a little warmer. It's some kind of coffee liqueur from a friend of ours in Michigan. Okay. He wants to know, after he asked me if I was feeling okay, and I am. According to you, which simulation software is best between the one in the Positive Grid Spark app, the Amplitude software that comes with iRigs, and Guitar Rig? Ah, man. Off the top of my head, I would have to say the Positive Grid stuff is pretty dang good. And actually, I have tried the Amplitude. I feel like it has a lot more latency and there's a lot more digital artifacting with it than the Positive Grid stuff does. The cool thing, what a lot of people don't realize about Positive Grid, who may not be familiar, I know if you're really a nerd, you'll know this already, but they have really good digital audio workstation, DAW plugins, and all kinds of other digital only things. In fact, we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a little bit, for recording. So they've been in the digital modeling game for a long time, just not the application to a live amp. So you don't think of them like you would think of Kemper or Helix or something like that. They are in the software realm. So they brought that technology to the little Positive Grid Spark amp. I think they kind of missed the mark with the actual tone of the little cabinet and the speakers itself. I've said that, many people have said that the speaker is too bassy, but I really feel like the actual software and technology is really, really good. Some people don't like the app because it is a little fiddly. However, the sound is pretty good. If you play with headphones and you realize that you only spent $250, it's great. I think everybody should have one of those. Just as a toy, you know what I mean? I would still have it if, I can't have gear piling up. And so I kind of have to have one thing that does everything I want it to do. But I think everybody should have one of those, like, underneath the coffee table so they can just jam whenever they want. Like, that, it's one of those kind of deals. Maybe it's not a serious tool, but it's definitely good for practicing and, that kind of stuff. Really, really like that thing a lot. Cool. Well, I guess that is all of the stuff from the various places that I checked. We got some YouTube members in here I want to say hello to. Looks like Dastardly Dave is here. Gary is here. We got some other regulars too. How's everybody doing? Oh, I saw Doc in there. So hang on. we're going to get to a couple other things here in the news. It's kind of bad news and good news week. But I wanted to talk about these right here. So the other night, when we were doing our Kolos, this was last weekend, when we were doing our live Kolos kit guitar assembly, I stripped some wire with my teeth, and we have a viewer that is a dentist, and he did not like that very much. And so I have to thank him for sending me, Doc, a set of very cool wire strippers. I actually just got these in the mail. I have not actually tried them with some wire yet, but they look amazing. Really, really cool. The design is very cool, and I won't be stripping wires with my teeth. So thank you for this. Thanks for sending this to me. I really appreciate it a lot. I had them in my hand on purpose because I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. So super cool. All right. One thing I also wanted to mention too, before we get into our news stories and our final big subject here, is Leslie, can you show the picture of that t-shirt?
I can.
If you go over there to DylanTalksTone and you go to the merch store, this t-shirt, we put it up, and I had some people being like, hey, wait a minute. This doesn't have anything to do with DylanTalksTone, but actually it has everything to do with DylanTalksTone. That Bert guy is actually my dad. So when I was a kid, we had a guitar store. This is the actual sign from the guitar store when I was a kid. This is the thing that started everything. I was probably 3 years old or something when this guitar store was opened. And we had a recording studio. We had, of course, it gave lessons and, well, it says it, recording lessons and repairs. And we sold all kinds of guitars. I remember working in here. This was like when I was really little. But this is what started everything. My brother actually has that sign hanging on his wall in his house. And I was like, you know what? We're going to put that thing on a t-shirt. So, that's a piece of history. I thought it was cool. And everybody has music store shirts that they've never been to because they just buy them in stores. So I figured I could have that too. And it's got a little bit of a story to it. So it's over on our merch store at DylanTalksTone. You can definitely check that out. And, yeah, just want to share that with you. So, let's go ahead and talk about this one thing here. I don't need this screen. Yeah, go ahead and give me the screen if you would on this one. A little sad news for the week. Leslie West of Mountain and all kinds of other things. He's legendary. Mississippi Queen, and many, 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 many other things. He passed away this week, 75 years old. That seems to be, for some reason, everybody except for Keith Richards, because Keith Richards is 77 now. But everybody in that same range seems to be passing away. If you look at his guitar, he has a single P90 in that V with no neck pickup. I think that's really cool. I was looking at this picture earlier, and I just thought it was kind of cool. He was kind of known for that snarly bridge P90 kind of thing in Les Paul Juniors and that kind of stuff. But that particular guitar, I think, is kind of cool. So, and then here is, of course, this is going to be our conversation that we discussed, that we saw the thumbnail for this whole video. I could not believe this when I saw this the other day, and I want to chat about this because this, to me, this product right here speaks to the entire thing that I'm trying to do or want to do over the next year. One of the things I want to do over the next year with DylanTalksTone, and that is take everything we know about the guitar and start looking at ways that we can go from talking about how it all works to actually making music. This thing excuse me, this thing is advertised. This is called the M-Auido M-Track Duo. We're going to get into some of the specific features of this because this thing is amazing, I think. And it is advertised at $39 for the solo, which has one input, and then the duo is advertised at $59 for two inputs. It has, apparently, supposedly, very, very, very good preamps, and they are supposed to be specifically tailored for guitars. It has phantom power. It has line versus instrument. You can run a mic in one. You can run an acoustic guitar in the other. You can run a line output from a guitar amp. So if you have a Boss Katana or a Boss Next Tone or any kind of line out from any guitar amp that you have, I have my little HX Stomp, my Line 6 HX Stomp, straight into this thing, into the computer. Actually, the HX Stomp has its own interface in it, but anything that doesn't, totally analog. Let's say you have a totally analog setup, like you have a Boss Katana, for example. Right here, straight into this thing, into your computer, and boom, you're going. It's got headphone amp in it. It's got a monitor for your headphones. This thing is pretty full featured for $39 and $59 for the 1 and 2 channels respectively. Now, if you notice in this photo right here, there's no computer there. That's an iPad. We're talking super minimal things needed to be able to make sounds. And I think this is where we're going is so cool. I know a lot of people in the past I've seen a lot of things on social media and stuff about how the quality of music has gone down because everybody can make something in their own bedroom. And I feel the opposite way. I feel like it's super empowering to be able to sit at a table like that with an iPad. Same thing with a positive grid with your smartphone or your iPad and be able to make music. I just think that is absolutely incredible. A 24-bit, 48 kilohertz. This thing is a quality piece. It is, I think. Now, I got on the pre-order. I didn't pre-order one because I didn't want to tie up the money yet. But I got the pre-order list or whatever, so they're going to email me when it gets in stock. I'm buying one of these so we can do some videos about it. I think it is really, really cool. That is just the box, where I haven't even talked about any of the cool parts yet. You obviously saw the thumbnail, and we were talking about amp modeling. Well, here's the thing. What I love about this is it comes with 2 DAWs, digital audio workstations. So it's got their, what is this called? First M-Auido edition. I don't know how good it is, but to basically plug everything in and hit record and be able to record something, I'm sure it's capable of that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put it in there. And then also MPC beats, so it's probably got some sort of, kind of thing that you can use to, do whatever. 20 effect plugins powered by Avid. Now, Avid makes really good effect plugins for many DAWs, which I think is very cool. And then it looks like it's got a synthesizer in here, so a virtual instrument expand. I don't know specifically about all this. I'm reading the same stuff you are, but what I do know about it is it's a synthesizer, so you can put in a digital way other instruments in there and be able to build multi-track productions. Here's the cool part. Turn your guitar up to 11. Has anybody ever heard of 11 rack? When Kempers are $1,700 and Line 6 Helixes are $1,500 and Axe Effects and everybody else are, the $1,500 to $1,700 zone, Neural Cortex, all that stuff. An 11 rack, I want to say, and I can't remember exactly, but I want to say they're somewhere in the $500 or $600 area. Were they at Kemper? No. But they were in the same vein as we were discussing earlier about Positive Grid, very software based, made a piece of hardware. So now we have a version of 11 rack. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the full version. I don't know if there's going to be other parts that you can buy. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that this is a company that's good at it, making it possible to be able to take your guitar, plug it into that box with no amp, with nothing else but a laptop or an iPad in that little box for $39 and be able to model 11 rack amps. The possibilities for this, for the money, are absolutely amazing. I am super stoked that this exists at this price point. Is it going to be professional audio production quality, blah, 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 blah? Probably not. It's 39 bucks. However, it takes the excuse away for people to say I can't afford to, or I don't have all the stuff to record whatever, because I can almost get, I don't know, I didn't look at all the specifics for the software, but most of these pieces of software only require 8 gigabytes of RAM, not super duper fast processors. Now, probably the more of this stuff you stack on, I'd probably say, 16 gigs of RAM recommended, and maybe a little bit faster recommended. But to get it done, to plug everything in, hit record, and get a track down, I can almost guarantee you, without looking super close at this, that a cheap laptop from 5 years ago will be just fine. An older computer that you already have, that you don't have to buy more equipment, will probably be just fine. And I think the possibilities of this thing are absolutely amazing, and I'm super stoked about it. I'm going to order one as soon as it comes out, and hopefully we'll do some videos on it. And that's that. I think it's really cool. I guess you can take me off of that there screen, babe. And yeah. So I think it's really cool. I'm just kind of stoked to see that it's a thing and that it exists. I think, again, this is one of those things sort of like the Positive Grid Spark. Is it going to be the best thing in the world ever for everybody? No. But I do think that it is something that everybody should try if you have not tried something already. Break the ice with this one. You know what I mean? One of the things that we're probably going to talk about a little bit more over the next few months is, so I'm just going to shout out this comment to Sneefert1968. Reaper DAW 39 bucks, M-Auido interface 40 bucks, any PC post 2010, done deal. Boom, you have a recording studio. At least, exactly. It's something to at least get something out, right? One of the things we're going to talk about a lot over the next few months, and you're going to see this a lot in our D-score segment of our videos, because we're going to start putting ratings on all of the stuff that we review. 1 to 5 scale. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be I think there's 5 aspects to it, and then it's going to give a total score. For those of you that have called me out for stealing it from Doug DeMuro, you're absolutely right, and I absolutely did. And just applied it, to what we do. And the reason I did, here's why. This is what I'm getting to. The reason Doug DeMuro is so successful at what he does is his ability to be able to take a product and look at it and do it differently. He doesn't just go and say they're all awesome. He doesn't bag on anything. He doesn't say anything's terrible. But what he does do, and this is something I don't think very many guitar review YouTubers do very well. Either they get paid to do something, so they say it's awesome even when it's not. That happens sometimes. Or they just say everything is awesome because they're making a video about it. You know what I mean? Because maybe that gets better views or whatever. What I want to focus on is it for you? I think a lot of the purchase decisions that people make, as far as gear goes, are as a result of being on some kind of like Facebook group, or, hey, should I buy this thing? Should I buy this M-Auido thing? And a guy sitting in a studio who has 50 grand, 100 grand worth of stuff says, no, it's a piece of crap. This is what you need. $39 will never get you a good enough thing. Thing is, that's two different people with two different use cases. So one of the things I want to focus on over the next few months as we do these reviews is, who is it actually for, and should you buy one? Because the answer will not be the same for every person. And I want to dive deeper into that. I want to spend more time on that and approach it a little bit differently, because there is a lot of entry-level gear out there that is good enough and better than you would think for an entry-level price. I've said this before in my videos, but for those of you that are new here and have not heard me say this before, we used to say it all the time in the power sports industry. When I was working on dirt bikes and we were, racing, and we're designing parts for suspensions, designing parts for fuel injection, stuff like that for in the dirt bike business. And one of the things, I always called it the 90-10-5 rule. And basically what we always said was that 90% of the money was spent by 10% of the people to get the last 5%. No, it's the 90% of the money is spent to get the last 10% of performance out of something that only 5% of people will ever feel. That $100 that you spent on that thing will be good enough for you, whether the magazine says it is or not, or whether the website or the Facebook group says it is or not, because that piece of equipment probably is way more capable than me or you as a guitar player. There's probably very few people that will be able to max out the capabilities of most of the gear that you have or that I have, because I'm not that good of a guitar player. I'm not going to say you're not that good of a guitar player, but you know what I mean. Like, I have tons of gear that's like, I know this gear is better than me. And so the reason I'm bringing all that up is because I really think this approach to how we rate stuff and how we review stuff, I hope people can identify with it better than just watching a normal demo video. You know what I mean? Because all the demo videos, I saw a thing actually on the internet this week, and it was actually Joe Bonamassa. I don't very often agree with anything Joe Bonamassa says, but one of the things he said this week was the problem with buying gear from demo videos is because the player is usually way better than you, and because no matter what, the better a player is, the more self-identified his sound is going to be. So Joe Bonamassa sounds like Joe Bonamassa. Eddie Van Halen sounds like Eddie Van Halen. It doesn't matter how much the gear costs. So if it's this overdrive pedal or this overdrive pedal or this overdrive pedal, they're all going to sound like Eddie Van Halen. They're all going to sound like whoever they are. Me and you, we might not be that good. We might not be able to get that out of that pedal. We get that pedal home and we're like, well, this pedal sucks. I was supposed to sound like Eddie Van Halen. You know what I mean? So I think approach and try to find another, okay, so here's another motorbike thing, but there's an ass for every seat, right? Like that's a thing, but not every seat is for every ass. So, like and understanding that more and diving into that more. I'm really, really kind of excited about that. Law of diminishing returns. There is that. Absolutely. We've talked about that on about guitars. You know, in my mind, a really, really nice guitar can be had for $2,500. Custom built, really nice guitar that will play really well, be very individual to you for $2,500. I mean, obviously it can be done for way less. You can put parts casters together. You can do all kind of stuff. But I'm just saying, if you were going to go order a custom guitar, $2,500, that'd do it. To me, I think, and this is opinion, but speaking to your point of law of diminishing returns, anything over about $3,500, it just doesn't get better. It might, by little tiny attentions to detail, etc. There are brands that completely blow that out of the water, you know, like the super duper PRS stuff that's really expensive that is really, really amazing. And there are some, McPherson is another example, are completely over the top with their attention to detail and that kind of stuff. But for most players, we could go to Guitar Center and pick up any, I know a lot of people want American-made guitars and etc. like that, but for under $2,000, most of us could have all the guitar we ever need. You know what I mean? And most of us could play a Boss Next Tone and have all the amp we ever need. Outside of, now this is not to diminish the connection and the fun that we have collecting, because I get really bagged on for not liking vintage gear. I absolutely love vintage gear, but I also don't find it very practical, so I don't have it. So there is that collector connection. I have this guitar that I've had since whenever, or I want the guitar that was made in the year of my birth, or I've always wanted a 1975 Carina Explorer. Like there's various things. I've always wanted a 59 Les Paul Jr. Like there are various things we've always wanted, but I feel I kind of treat those as special. I kind of treat those as that's the collector thing for a particular reason. The rest of these other guitars that we're going to play every day, the utility of them makes them, we could all play the same guitars within reason. You like humbuckers in a 24/75 scale. I like humbuckers in a 25.5-inch scale. Okay, so we're that much different, and I like this color and you like that color, and that's all we really need to know, and that's it. Aside from the collecting part of it and the personal connection with it. So it's just interesting to dive into kind of the psychology of how it all works, and that's something that I really want to do more, so that the advice we give on this channel is technically good, like it always has been, but also the subjective side. I've always stayed away from the subjective side, but I think there's a way to do that and try to speak to as many different viewers as possible. So, yeah, I think it's cool. Yeah. Yeah, and I think Michael just said that the guys that make their living with it, absolutely. It's a tool for making a living, and, you don't buy cheap tools if you're a mechanic. You don't buy a cheap guitar if you're working every day, unless you're Jack White, So, yeah. Super cool. Let's see. I'm gonna just give this thing a quick scan to say hi to some people. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, I don't think there were a ton of questions, so the few questions that are in there, I think you could probably cover.
Yeah, I'm trying to just kind of look through here. I hate to... Where was the store located? Oh, how much does rust affect pickups performance? If it's really bad, it can affect it because it can change the shape of the magnetic field. But most of the time, the little bit of tarnishing that you get on the end won't matter a whole lot. Yeah. Cool.
Hunter Grossman asked, is there any advice you can give on figuring out the output on a damaged pickup? I had a neck telly pickup that's over a decade old that I accidentally nicked the wound wire. I have no idea where to start.
Not really. So if you're going to rewind it, so here's how I do it. This, you have to kind of know, though, this is the problem. There's a couple different ways you can do it. The way I personally do it, if I'm going to rewind something, is I measure the size of the coil on the wound pickup, and like how full the bobbin is, basically. You got to remember it back in the day, like Gibson humbuckers and stuff, fenders, all that stuff, they just wound the bobbins till they were full. So there wasn't until they had counters and all that. But what you can do is you can get like a postal scale that measures down to the gram, or like a food scale, and you can weigh the pickup before you cut the wire off. And then cut all the wire off. I would measure it to see how full it is, maybe take a picture of it with your phone so you can get a kind of a good idea of how full it is. Figure out it's probably 43 gauge wire if it's a Telecaster neck pickup. It's 42 gauge wire if it's a Telecaster bridge pickup. So then what you would do is take the bobbin, weigh it, then cut the coil off of it, and then weigh it again. And whatever the difference is, that's how much wire in weight was on it. How many grams of wire were on it. Then you put it on your winder. You wind it as close as you can to the old pickup, and when you feel like you're starting to get close to the size, weigh it again and see if you're close. You'll never really know how many winds are on it and how to totally duplicate it, but that's the way I would do it. Yep, it looks like it's pretty close, but you could be like 500 winds off, which can be significant with 43, and not be able to tell the difference looking at it. So get close, be like, oh, that's pretty close. That's pretty close to being the right size. And then take it off and weigh it, and then you'll know. Once you know your wire and you've used it a bunch, I can tell how many grams-ish of wire, and I can usually eyeball it and hit it, but I do it all the time. So, and I know that how I wind, how much it fills up. Like everybody's hands, especially when you're hand winding, if you do it wrong, you can fill up a bobbin super fast if it's all sloppy. If it's super tight, then you can get a lot of wire on there, and you can completely change the spec and not know it because it'll physically look that way, but it will weigh different because less wire weighs less. So, yeah, that's a super cool, interesting question, actually.
And then the question that you kind of breezed over, Art Gomez, where was the store located? He's actually asking about Bert's Guitar Studio.
Oh, it was in Moses Lake, Washington State, in the middle of the state, in the Columbia River Valley. I guess the biggest thing they're known for there is a Boeing test plant was there when I was a little kid. Yeah. Couldn't they also find the specs for the telly to know how to wind it? Yeah, but I mean, everybody's all over the place with that junk. I mean, everybody winds a little different. So if it's a Fender even, you won't know for sure. It's just kind of part of it. I need some telly pickups that really quack. DylanTalksTone.com. You go there and you click on flat 6 telly pickups. Those are the jam. The story with those.
Do you see his name? Like, I think he literally is building a telly quacker.
I have seen Telly Quacker on YouTube before, and maybe in some other groups and stuff, so I am familiar. Yeah, so super quacky pickups. So I'll give you a backstory on the flat 6 telly pickups that we make. They're modeled after an actual 1966 telly that I had in the shop, and I was like, I wonder how these are made, and I kind of went after it, and then I kind of made my own modern materials, so that they're not like unobtainium. So yeah, they're good. They're real good. They are those pickups, and our center punches are our top selling pickups. Our P90s are my favorite, but the flat 6 pickups and our center punch pickups are our top selling pickups. We make those almost every week. Yeah, every week. Yeah, I would say. We make center punches almost every day. But those ones, yeah, for sure.
And Brian said, I see the P90s you suggested. What do I do with the bridge on my 3 P90 guitar, which is the ceramic 15K reading?
Okay. Oh, did he might have emailed me and asked me about this. So I think what it was, if I'm incorrect about this, wait, he wants to leave the stock pickup in the bridge.
I don't know. I only know what I just read to you.
Where is that?
540 Brian M.
So we can drill into that and get that, because I think he emailed me about this. I still can't find it though. This is why I apologize.
You don't see timestamps? Probably not.
No, I don't get timestamps. I apologize for missing you in the. This is why I miss you.
It's only like a page up.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. Just scroll from the bottom to a new set.
Okay, I see the last time you commented. And then I don't know. I can't find it.
Last time I commented.
Yeah, I was looking the last time you commented. Anyway, this is...
It's below that.
Really
when I said hey
television.
to Ben.
Yep.
Should be on the same page as that without having to scroll off the page.
Okay.
. Brian M. P90s.
Oh, there he is. I seen the P90s you suggested. What do I do with the bridge on my 3 P90 guitar, which is a ceramic 15K? Oh, so you were talking about replacing these. If this is the same email, I don't know if it is or not. And you were saying, okay, just put 2 of our P90s, one in the middle and one in the neck. That's what I would do. 15K, that's going to be super dark in comparison to ours, but put 500K pots in it, and that would be a super killer guitar. And then if you find that it's super duper mismatched, just get another one. Because that guitar that's not going to be loud. It's just going to be a little darker. Scrap Iron 22, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that very much. But yeah, those P90s, dude, that's what I would do. I would get 2, put it in the middle and the neck, and that's what I would do. Start there, and then if you don't like how that switches back and forth, get with me and we'll figure something else out. But that's honestly, it would be replace all 3, but 2 out of those 3 would be killer. The neck tone that you would get from that would be unreal. I put 3 of my P90s in one of John Bollinger's guitars a few years ago, and 3 P90s in a guitar is so fun. Scrap Iron 22, thanks for the super chat, sir. Says, do you recommend a stacked split shaft 250-500 for a humbucker single coil Telecaster? Nope, I put 500s in everything. That is what I would do. That is what I would do. I would put 500K pots in everything. Because you can always use your tone knob, but you can never untone knob it. You know? The other thing you could do, the other thing you could do that would also be awesome is what if you did... I don't like stacked pots. Here's why I don't like stacked pots. The taper always sucks. It seems to me that you could never get a good stacked pot that the taper is any good. So what you also could do is you could put a no-load 250 in your tone circuit only. Okay, here's what I do. 500K volume pot and a no-load 250 in your tone position. So then when you use your tone knob, you have like, it can cut it back some. And then all you got to do is dime it, and it'll take the tone knob out of the circuit and really brighten it up for when you want to use the humbucker in the neck. That would be cool. That'd be cool. I've never actually done that, but that would be cool. 500K volume, 250K tone, but make it a no load so that when you dime it, it brightens back up. That'd be cool. That'd be super cool, actually. Awesome. You guys, this has been super fun. We went almost an hour. I really appreciate everybody watching tonight. I know that y'all are busy and have stuff going this weekend. I see Leslie answered Monsters of the Id. You got my email. Yeah, contact form on the website is the best way. That is the best way. So, yeah, super cool. Looks like we got everything handled. Make sure you go to DylanTalksTone to enter to win. Please share our channel. That would be so cool if I could hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be amazing. I don't know if we will because it's only like a week, but that would be super duper cool. Other than that, thanks for hanging out, and I will guess we'll see you next week.